Hey my friends, Late Boy Scout here, and on the table for review is the Leatherman Wingman, flanked by some of its brothers in arms. The Leatherman Wingman, introduced at SHOT Show 2011, on the market around September 2011, and finally in my hands early 2012. So let's get to work on this tool, which I think is kind of fits into the everyday carry role, but sort of a heavy everyday carry. If you consider the Wave to be an everyday carry tool, then the Wingman certainly is. If you say this is too heavy to be an everyday carry tool and you'd rather have something lightweight along the lines of the Juice S2, the Squirt PS4, the Scale Tool CX, then the Wingman is kind of in between. It's not quite everyday carryable, but it doesn't quite have all the same features and punch of a nice tool like the Wave. Does it really lack features and punch? Well, it lacks a few of the features of the Wave, but otherwise it's very comparable in size and usability. One of the really neat features that you get with this Wingman is spring-loaded pliers, something that Leatherman has not had for quite a long time, and I think they did it just right with this tool. The pressure, the resistance on that spring is absolutely perfect. It's very light and very soft, very smooth. Works great. It doesn't really resist and give you any more resistance in bearing down on something that you need to torque or work on, but it springs itself out just enough, resists gravity just enough to be really useful. I really like that. Let's go down just the features of this tool. You get the pliers, obviously, the needle nose pliers, the wire cutter, the hard wire cutter, which doesn't even close all the way. It's just kind of strange to me. Whatever. On the inside, you also get a flathead, a nice broad flathead, and a two-dimensional Phillips head screwdriver. On the other side, we open it up and we have a good little bottle/can opener with a wire stripper down here at the base of it, right there, a little sharp area. Also, we have a small ruler with inches and centimeters, a wood file, a smaller flathead screwdriver, not quite precise, but a little more precise than that broad one I showed you before, and an interesting new tool that I don't think Leatherman has ever had on one of their tools before. This is a package opener. And I suppose the way you would use that is just kind of dig into some of that plastic packaging that we all have to fight with, and then just kind of tear through that like so. I can see that working really well, actually. All these inside accessible tools do not lock up. There's no locking, unlocking button there, as with the Wave, which has its inside accessible tools actually lock up. Demonstration of that right quick. That one's locked up until you press that, and then you can close it. None of these do that. However, in my experience with all these tools, Juice in particular, anytime you come across a tool, an inside accessible tool that doesn't lock up, it still has enough spring retention holding it there that it's never going to fold on you. None of these have ever folded on me. This has never folded on me. None of these inside accessible tools have ever folded on me. That Phillips head is very, very stout in the spring pressure holding it in place. Okay, so I really don't think that that's going to be a problem, the fact that does not lock up. Outside accessible tools. Let's go to the outside. A nice little blade, partially serrated. Okay, kind of the best of the both worlds, if you see it that way. I kind of prefer just plain edge, but yeah, best of both worlds. Best of both worlds would be to have serrated and non-serrated, and there you have it. The lockup on this particular one, not perfect. That saddens me, but I guess I can live with it for a blade that I'll rarely ever use. And it is hollow ground with a nice, I really like the way that Leatherman does their fine edges, actually. Really perform really well. And a little drop point, kind of, not quite sheep's foot, but a little drop there. Good blade shape, works really well. And that does lock up, of course, you saw that. Scissors, which also lock in place. and work quite well. Even though they look kind of thin, kind of flimsy, they're actually pretty good scissors. They're tight. They work real well. I like that. So those are those outside accessible tools. So I mentioned that this could be a good EDC tool, one you would carry every day. I think that, well, it's surrounded and flanked by tools that make better everyday carry tools if you're only looking for carryability. The best, of course, would be the PS4. It's super carryable. It disappears into your pocket. You can use this thing for so many everyday tasks. I use this tool more than any other Leatherman I have because it's with me all the time. So the tool you have is the tool you use, right? And that's the one I always have. Of course, the Juice S2, also very carryable, slightly bigger, but very, very carryable. At only 4 ounces, really good tool. The scale tool CX, also around 4, something like that, 4 or so ounces. Very, very carryable and very durable, very tough for its size, for what it has and for what it does. It's kind of limited though. It's only got a couple tools, as you can see. This very nice 154 cm blade, a little carabiner bottle opener, a driver that's swappable. It's got a few bits here. There's the bits inside, embedded in there. And beyond that, just kind of your pliers, your basic pliers. Now, the pliers are very stout, very cool, and very, very durable. But again, it's a little bit more limited. Ouch. Yeah, I just pinched my thumb just then. That was fun. Oh well. On with the review. So, yeah, I think each of these tools make better everyday carry tools than this one does. However, what are you going to pay for each of these? Oh, around 20 to 25 bucks. 35 to 40 bucks probably. Like 60 to 70 bucks because of the 154 cm and the carbon fiber and so forth. What are you going to pay for this? 25 bucks? Dude. Now, that just blows the rest of them out of the water when you take price into account. Yes, these are a little bit more carryable, but for what you get tool-wise, what you can do, all the capabilities you get with the Wingman, and that outstanding price, I think this one just wins hands down. And if you're not crazy, like I am crazy in buying all these multi-tools and far more, this isn't only a smattering. This is only a few of the Leatherman multi-tools I have. I think there's one more around here somewhere. I'm not going to bother with it. Way too many. I've got way too many of these multi-tools. But if you are more sane than I am, which you probably are, then you won't have this many. You'll just have, you'll be on the lookout for one. And if that's you, here's the one. The Leatherman Wingman is probably the one, especially if you don't want to spend a chunk of change. 25 bucks, backed up by a 25-year warranty. Hard to beat it. Really, really hard to beat it. Well, that's my review of the Leatherman Wingman. I'm the Late Boy Scout, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one. Take care.